Beloved Saints, today's 5-minute message of redemptive history is about the history of the Babylonian Exile from the 5th book of Redemptive History series, The Promise of the Eternal Covenant. King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon attacked Judah in 605 BC during the reign of Jehoiakim. He took the royal family and the nobles, including Daniel, into exile, and this was the first deportation. After this, Nebuchadnezzar took more captives to Babylon in the second deportation in 597 BC during the reign of Jehoiachin. At that time, all the treasures of the house of the Lord and the king's house were carried out, and all the vessels of gold were cut in pieces. Then the third deportation occurred in 586 BC during the reign of Zedekiah. At that time, the temple was burned down, and the walls around Jerusalem were destroyed. This was the result of Israelites' disobedience to God's word, and it was a righteous judgment of God. However, it was a great shock to the Israelites who believed in God's promise in Genesis 17 verse 8 and 48 verse 4, which states that God will give the land of Canaan as an everlasting possession. The southern kingdom of Judah was taken captive to Babylon, and Canaan became a deserted land in 586 BC. However, because God promised that he would give the land of Canaan to the descendants of Abraham as an eternal possession, he allowed them to return to the land from Babylon. Thus, this promise was fulfilled. This promise of the return to the land of Canaan was confirmed by the following commands of God. First, God commanded Jeremiah to buy the field at Anathoth. Anathoth is located 4 kilometers northeast of Jerusalem, and it was a city of the Benjamin tribe. God commanded Jeremiah to buy land at a time when the nation was on the verge of destruction, because he wanted to instill in the people the conviction that the land would be restored. This event was God's confirmation that although Babylon was taking Judah into captivity, they would surely return to this land. Second, God commanded those who remained in the land of Judah not to go down to Egypt, but to stay in Canaan, their homeland. For them to leave their homeland, which God would restore, and to go down to Egypt was clearly the sin of disbelief in God's promise. Third, God commanded the people who are in captivity, "Let Jerusalem come to your mind." This message is similar to King Solomon's prayer to God after the completion of Solomon's temple. In 1 Kings 8 verses 33 to 34, King Solomon prays, "When your people Israel are defeated before an enemy because they have sinned against you, if they turn to you again and confess your name and pray and make supplication to you in this house, then hear in heaven and forgive the sins of your people Israel and bring them back to the land which you gave to their fathers." Beloved Saints, God's word regarding the land of Canaan was a promise of the eternal covenant. Thus, God allowing the people of Judah to return to Canaan is a realization of that eternal covenant. For this reason, in Jeremiah 32 verse 37, God announces, "Behold, I will gather them out of all the lands to which I have driven them in my anger, in my wrath, and in great indignation. And I will bring them back to this place and make them dwell in safety." God then proclaimed that this was the fulfillment of the eternal covenant. Jeremiah 32 verses 40 to 41 states, "And I will make an everlasting covenant with them, that I will not turn away from them, to do them good, and I will put the fear of me in their hearts, so that they will not turn away from me. And I will rejoice over them to do them good, and I will faithfully plant them in this land with all my heart and with all my soul." In order to keep his promise of the eternal covenant, God took action and brought the people of Judah back to their land from their captivity in Babylon. God is truly faithful to his covenant. I pray that we will firmly believe in God's eternal covenant and keep it so that we can receive God's blessing and enter into heaven, our homeland. I bless in the name of the Lord.